Hi everyone, today I'm going to do something a little bit different and do a mini battle of the mini handhelds, firstly revisiting Powkiddy's RGB20. With the Mii Mini recently released, this has had the fortunate impact of reducing the price of entry for some of its competitors, primarily Powkiddy's RGB20 and Anbernic's RG280V. So with this in mind, I thought I'd revisit the RGB20 today to see how it competes and ultimately if it's still worth considering if you're looking for a mini or truly profitable retro gaming handheld. So the RGB20 was released toward the end of 2020, so it's now a couple of years old and has the RK3326 chipset inside it, as well as 1GB of RAM and a 3000 mAh battery. It's also got an inbuilt Wi-Fi chip, which opens up over-the-air firmware updates, retro achievements and so on. It's got a pretty decent 3.5-inch IPS display with a 3:2 ratio at 480 by 320 resolution, which ultimately makes the old handhelds like Gameboy Advance really shine through. Spec-wise, the RGB20 is currently one of, or if not the most powerful of the mini vertical handhelds available. Due to the RK3326 chipset inside it, it has the amazing community dev support that the chip has received, and you'll be able to get playable, definitely far from perfect, but playable Dreamcast, Nintendo DS, and bits and pieces of the Saturn on the RGB20. That said, the RGB20 has a somewhat unique design and definitely is standout colour palettes. You can get a far more quieter grey colour though, as well as this more standout orange. Build quality with the RGB20 is mixed. Although it ticks a lot of the boxes spec-wise, the RGB20 is likely the least impressive from a build quality point of view. There's light rattling where inputs like the shoulder buttons haven't been tightly secured, the plastic used for the shell feels a lot cheaper compared to Anbernic's or Mii's devices, and the controls suffer due to the cheaper materials used. Input-wise, there's a lot of options here, with the left analog stick which presses down, 4 shoulder buttons and 4 extra buttons at the bottom, which can be utilised as hotkeys or actual controller buttons depending on the console. All round, the inputs are okay, bang in the middle in terms of quality. The D-pad suitable enough to pull off combos, but travel limitations will limit you from pulling them off consistently. Buttons are the right size and easily pressed, but the return from press is slow, which will hinder you in busier games. The shoulder buttons are the weakest of the inputs, being small and uncomfortable if having to be mashed in things like fighters, but passable if they're rarely used in the likes of some PlayStation and handheld games. Overall, the controls of the RGB20 aren't terrible by any means, but they're far from perfect, and you'll likely find yourself limited when playing fighting games on the system. Something the RGB20 does greatly benefit from is the level of developer support the RK3326 chip has received. Essentially being an oddly shaped clone of the original Odroid Go Advance, the RGB20 benefits from years of community developer support that really has squeezed every ounce of performance from the system. If you're willing to put the time investment in flashing a microSD card with a couple of the custom firmware, picking according to your preference, you'll find some surprising performance gains to be found and ports to be enjoyed. At this point, it's one of the strongest aspects the RGB20 has, alongside benefits the internal Wi-Fi brings, such as retro achievements and over-the-air updates. I'll cut to some gameplay now and summarise up at the end. In summary, the RGB20 isn't a bad mini vertical handheld option. It falls down on overall build quality, especially when being directly compared to the build quality of Ambinix RG280V. What it does have of the RG280V and the Miyoo Mini, other than the literal few centimeters in height and width difference, is the extra boost in power the RK3326 provides over the other chips of the other Miyoo handhelds, and the many years community development that's gone into squeezing every bit of performance optimization out of the RK3326. That, coupled with inbuilt Wi-Fi, gives you a few neat advantages like retro achievements and over-the-air updates. Due to its age, I have seen the prices for the RGB20 vary wildly over various promotion periods, so if you can grab one at the $50 mark while it's discounted on promotion, I think there's a lot to be squished into this mini package. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching.